The barn smelled of dust and horses. Sunlight slicing through the cracks in thin, trembling lines. Inside, my daughter's voice broke once, then vanished, leaving that heavy silence that says everything before you even step closer. I opened the door. The sheriff turned toward me, hand resting on his gun like it was a natural extension of his arm. Sweat glinted on his neck. "Your daughter shouldn't be here," he said. "This land belongs to new management now." A toothpick stuck from his mouth as he grinned. "Just a farmer. Huh, Mason? Should have been mine long ago." My hands were steady. Calm. I looked at him, then at Hannah, who pressed against the stall door, trembling. "Leave," I said. He chuckled. "You gonna make me?" "No," I replied. I stepped outside, pulled out my phone, and dialed a single number. Time. He was still laughing when I ended the call, the sound barely noticeable at first, then growing. Not sirens, not the law, but men who understood loyalty. You never truly leave the service. You just adapt to the world that believes you have. I returned home from overseas with clenched fists and unfinished battles. I bought this land to vanish, to grow things that didn't bleed. But peace is fragile. Power smells weakness. And Collins, the sheriff, had been circling for years, testing, provoking, wearing me down with forged fines, lost permits, and threats that became braver as he thought I'd faltered. 3 weeks ago, Hannah came home shaking. Collins had cornered her near school, gripping her wrist, telling her the farm would never belong to her kind again. I went to the station that night. He smiled behind the counter. Threatening me, soldier? His deputies laughed. I walked out quietly. Didn't argue. Didn't threaten. I made my calls. Not to lawyers, no one who would bend the law. To ghosts. Men who owed loyalty to no one but me. My old unit had scattered. Some in private security. Some in corners the world denies exist. But they answered instantly. Coordinates were all I gave. While I waited, I played my part. The quiet farmer, powerless, unremarkable. Collins strutted drunk on his authority, unchecked, feeding off silence. Each night, I listened to the corn sway, counting the second between trucks, slowing near the gate and speeding away again. Hannah thought I'd given up. She didn't know I was waiting for the right darkness to fall. That evening, Collins arrived, not in uniform, just arrogance. He parked by the barn and walked straight inside. Hannah tended the horses. I heard her voice once, then his, "Enough." I entered. His face was a mix of hunger and hatred. "This land's mine," he said. "You just don't realize it yet." I looked at him, a coward masquerading as authority, a parasite thriving on fear. "You've mistaken my silence for surrender," I said. He laughed. "Call for help? The sheriff's department answers to me." I did call, just not the kind he expected. Boots hit soil before the headlights reached the barn. 12 men moved as one from the corn, tactical gear gleaming in the fading light. My brothers, my ghosts. Collins stumbled back, hand twitching toward his gun. He never touched it. Ramirez, the leader, stepped forward. "You're trespassing," he said. "No shouting, no bloodshed, just presence." The sheriff dropped his weapon, pale beneath the barn light. He backed away, spewing promises and threats to fill the silence that had turned against him. He walked out. That was the agreement. No bullets, no bodies, only fear. He resigned 2 days later, sold his house, and vanished before sunrise. The department called it retirement. Everyone else knew the truth. Hannah sometimes asks what happened. I tell her enough. He's gone. She doesn't need to know about the men I once called brothers or the swiftness with which they answered when I whispered into darkness. Now the corn grows tall again. The air smells of rain and soil. Normal life, or something that looks like it. Sometimes, when the wind shifts, I hear it. Synchronized footsteps fading into the distance. I used to fight for flags, for orders, for men who lied about what mattered. That night, I fought for something honest. I didn't need forgiveness, only silence. Because after vengeance, silence speaks louder than guilt.